1.5 years ago, I was in charge of doing the green paper process, which eventually led to drafting the agenda for change. So I consider myself very much committed intellectually and also in terms of its practical implications. The question for me now is whether this conceptual framework has a meaningful relevance for a country like South Sudan, and I think it does. If you look at the agenda for change, the major breakthrough is that we try to improve two important strands of development policy. The first being democratic governance, rule of law, and human rights. So the promotion of democratic governance strategies is a key element, and we were very much inspired by the Arab Spring events, which I think helped decision makers in Brussels and beyond to recognize the importance of democratic governance for sustainable development. And the other important change is that we very much believe in the promotion of inclusive and sustainable growth strategies. The notion of economic growth, which has to be inclusive and sustainable, very much at the forefront of development policymakers at this juncture. Within that context of inclusive growth, two important elements have to be taken into consideration. First being food security, rural development and agriculture as a major sector for ensuring that the problems in many developing countries can be resolved. And the second one being energy, access to energy, renewable energy. This is very important in the context of fighting climate change and adapting to the consequences. Now, all of these things are of tremendous importance in South Sudan. While it's one of the most fragile states in the world, it certainly needs both the democratic governance principles fully adopting and making sure that this is part of the development plan, and the inclusive growth agenda, because without growth you cannot actually distribute the benefits to the citizens. No, I think it's highly relevant. What is more challenging for us is the private sector involvement, which is one key driver to make this happen. And private sector involvement is difficult because we are at an infant stage in the development. We have to actually start from scratch in building a state and building a nation. We have focused on 4 key sectors in full harmony with the National Development Plan 2011-2013 of the government of South Sudan. And these 4 sectors are rural development, healthcare, primary education, and rule of law, notably support to the judiciary. Now these four sectors very much respond to very much pressing needs in the country. The agenda for change stipulates that we can only do it in 3 sectors. But we had somehow to match the demand of the country. Once they have signed up to the Cotonou Agreement, and we hope that by July then this will be formalized, we would actually start the programming process of the multi-annual financial framework 2014-2020. Now this would be a whole new ball game, and we would of course then, together with member states and other parties in the government, try to make sure that the agenda for change principles are fully adhered to. But we have to make sure, that's a note of caution here, we have to make sure that an optimal division of labor and coordination at donor level actually takes place to ensure that the demand from the country is matched by the supply from the donor community.